All right, so we are ready to dive into this policy manager interview prep. You're
Yeah.
going for a job that could really make a difference, and so let's make sure you shine in that interview.
Yeah.
We got some great resources from RoleCatcher today. Their career guide and interview guides, even pulled some info from their website. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
unpack all of it so you can walk into that interview feeling really confident and ready to impress.
Absolutely. And you know what's really cool about this role is that there are so many different paths you can take.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people start in like those analyst roles and
Uh-huh.
work their way up, but we're seeing more specialized policy manager positions emerging,
Interesting.
especially in fields like tech and sustainability.
Oh, cool.
So it's not always the straight line, which is something to think about as you consider your long-term career goals.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
It's not just about like getting the job. It's about like understanding where this job can take you.
Exactly.
Right.
And, once you do get that interview, there are some really common questions that they love to ask. Okay.
One that often pops up is, can you explain your experience with policy development and implementation?
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah, this is your chance to showcase your expertise,
Yeah.
but remember, don't get too bogged down in the details.
Yeah, don't bore them to death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Focus on a specific project and highlight your skills.
So, pick something that really shows them what you can do, not just every single thing you've ever done.
Exactly.
Right.
And remember the STAR method.
Okay, the STAR method.
Yeah, situation, task, action, result.
Mm.
It just really helps you structure your response concisely and tell that story.
So, you set the scene, you tell them what you did and what the positive outcome was.
Yeah.
I feel like they would have follow-up questions for that one, though.
Oh, for sure.
What were the biggest obstacles you faced in that process?
Absolutely. They want to see how you handle challenges and what you learned.
Yeah.
So, be prepared to discuss those hurdles that you encountered and how you overcame them. Like, did you have to collaborate with others, negotiate, think creatively? These are all great points to bring up. Oh, yeah, those are really good. Okay, so how about, staying up to date? Policy is changing all the time. So how do you even keep up with that? I feel like that's definitely a question they'd ask.
Yeah, and they do usually something like, how do you stay up to date with changes in regulations and laws that impact policies in your industry? And your answer should go beyond just, listing resources.
Okay.
You want to demonstrate proactive learning and continuous professional development.
So more than I read this journal or I subscribe to this newsletter, it's about how you actually engage with that information.
Exactly. It's about that engagement. Talk about specific publications or organizations, thought leaders that you follow.
Okay.
Maybe you attended a relevant conference or workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Share your process for staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting about this question, too, is it gives them a glimpse into what really interests you in the broader policy landscape.
Oh, I like that.
Are you passionate about, data privacy, healthcare reform? Let that shine through.
That's great. And RoleCatcher can actually help with that too.
Yeah, how so?
Their AI can analyze job descriptions to pinpoint specific areas you might want to brush up on.
That's so cool. It's like having a personalized study guide based on the exact skills the employer's looking for.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say you're applying for a position focused on environmental policy. RoleCatcher's AI might flag your knowledge of specific regulations
Oh, interesting.
or international agreements as an area that you could strengthen.
That's awesome.
So you can tailor your learning and even your answers to what matters most for that particular job.
That's really smart. All right, so moving on to another question that we've found people kind of trip up on a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you give an example of a time when you had to make a difficult decision regarding a policy change?
Well, that's a tough one.
This is a behavioral question, so they're trying to understand your judgment, your ethical considerations, and how you approach really complex situations.
So it's not about having the right answer. It's about how you got there.
Exactly. Choose a situation where the best course of action wasn't immediately clear
Okay.
and walk them through your thought process, how you weighed those different factors and stakeholder perspectives, and how you ultimately arrived at your decision.
That's great. And I think it's really important to be prepared to discuss those challenges that you faced and the potential consequences that you had to consider.
Absolutely.
And I feel like this is where that STAR method could come in handy again,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Keeps your answer organized and focused.
It does. And don't forget, be ready for the follow-up, too. Knowing what you know now, would you have approached that decision differently?
Oh, that's good.
This shows self-awareness and a willingness to learn from your experiences.
Yeah. Even if the outcome wasn't perfect, it shows that you've learned and grown from it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, now let's switch gears a little bit to communication.
Okay.
Even the best policy is useless if people don't understand it, right?
Right.
So how do you make sure that everyone's on the same page? They might ask something like, how do you ensure policies are accessible and understandable to all employees?
Yeah, I feel like that takes more than just being a good writer.
It does.
Yeah.
Think about like tailoring language to the audience, using visuals, providing summaries and FAQs,
Oh, yeah.
different formats for different needs, and don't forget about feedback.
Feedback from like the employees themselves.
Yeah, get their input.
Okay.
It helps ensure understanding, and you might even uncover areas where that policy needs tweaking.
Oh, that's interesting.
You're also demonstrating a collaborative approach, which is super valuable in a policy manager.
Yeah, for sure. And I bet RoleCatcher's AI can provide feedback on your interview answers too, right?
Yeah, they do. With their Copilot subscription, you can practice answering these questions
Oh, wow.
and get AI-powered feedback on your clarity, your conciseness, the overall impact of your response.
So it's like having a little communications coach in your pocket.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so before we move on to even more questions, let's take a quick look at what RoleCatcher's career guide has to say about like the key skills and knowledge that you really need for this role.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it is such a fascinating blend of analytical thinking and communication skills.
Oh, okay.
You have to be able to dissect really complex issues, but then you have to present your findings clearly and persuasively.
Yeah, you have to be smart, but you also have to be able to explain it to everyone else.
Right. What were some of the specific skills that they mentioned?
Okay, so the career guide highlights reading comprehension, speaking complex problem solving, writing critical thinking
Yeah.
as core skills. But it also emphasizes like active learning listening systems, analysis and monitoring.
Wow, that's a pretty diverse set of skills.
It is, which I guess makes sense. It really reflects the multifaceted nature of the job.
Yeah, you're analyzing information, communicating with stakeholders,
Yeah.
and constantly staying up to date on new developments. What about knowledge areas?
Oh, yeah. They highlight law and government.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But also your native language math, even geography.
Wow.
So it's about having like a broad foundation and then diving deep into the specific policy areas that are relevant to the role you're going for.
Yeah, like environmental regulations, healthcare policy, tech law.
Yeah, the list goes on.
It seems like continuous learning is a must in this field.
For sure. And RoleCatcher's skill guides can be a great resource for that. They offer in-depth guides that are linked to specific careers so you can get targeted interview practice for those skills that matter the most
Cool.
in your chosen field.
Yeah.
So it's not just about knowing the answers. It's about being able to articulate them in a way that the hiring manager is going to understand and appreciate.
Right. And that's actually what we're going to focus on in the next part of our deep dive.
Ooh, exciting.
We're going to continue exploring these common interview questions and provide you with even more strategic insights to help you stand out from all the other candidates.
Perfect. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of policy managers. So we left off talking about some of those common interview questions
Right.
and how to approach them strategically. Let's tackle a few more that often come up and that might trip you up a bit. One that we've seen is, how do you ensure compliance with regulations when implementing new policies?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. It sounds like a real balancing act.
It is. You have to make sure that the policy is sound and effective, but also doesn't, break any rules.
Right.
So it's really about, putting on your legal hat, so to speak, and showing them that you understand that regulatory landscape and can navigate it effectively.
So like working with legal teams and consultants and really doing your research.
Absolutely. And being proactive is key.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, you want to anticipate those potential compliance issues before they even become a problem.
Yeah.
That shows strategic thinking foresight qualities that any good policy manager needs.
That's a really good point. Okay, so let's maybe switch gears a little bit and talk about conflict, because policy can be a very contentious area.
Yes.
So how do you handle disagreements?
Yes.
I'm sure they want to know how you navigate those tricky situations.
Oh, they do, for sure. A very common question is, how do you handle conflicts or disagreements regarding policies? Conflict is inevitable.
Right. Especially when people have strong opinions.
Yeah, especially in this field.
Yeah.
But, it's not about avoiding conflict. It's about managing it effectively.
So what's like the best approach? Is it all about compromise?
Well, compromise can be part of it, but it's really about facilitating that productive conversation.
Yeah.
Think back to a time when you had to mediate a disagreement regarding a policy. How did you encourage open communication and ensure that everyone felt heard?
Yeah.
Did you actively listen to those different viewpoints?
Yeah, those seem like really crucial skills for any kind of leadership position.
Absolutely. And, remaining calm and objective is so vital.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught up in the emotions
Right. You're the facilitator guiding the conversation towards a resolution that benefits everyone.
and not taking sides.
Exactly. Okay, so let's look ahead a little bit. The policy world is constantly evolving.
Oh, for sure.
So how do you even anticipate those future trends and their potential impact?
Yeah, that's a good one. I
Yeah.
feel like that would make you stand out if you can answer that well.
Yeah, they might ask something like, how do you anticipate future trends and their impact on policy development? This is where you showcase that strategic foresight.
Hmm.
Your ability to not just react to the present, but to anticipate what's coming next.
Okay, so how do you do that? It's
Yeah.
not like you have a crystal ball.
Right.
Hmm.
But you can definitely stay informed about those industry developments.
Yeah.
Track technological advancements and just keep a pulse on those social and political shifts. And what's really fascinating here is it ties back to, that continuous learning that we were talking about earlier.
Hmm.
The more you know about what's happening in the world, the better equipped you are to anticipate how those changes might affect policies in the future.
Right, and this is where I feel like RoleCatcher's Career Compass tool can be so helpful.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's like having this personalized radar for all of those like emerging trends
It is, exactly.
so you can stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, the Career Compass can really help you explore those different career paths and understand the skills and knowledge that you need to stay ahead of the curve.
Okay, so very useful. All right, let's get down to brass tacks, money talks, as they say. So how do you handle that dreaded salary question?
Yes. What are your salary expectations? It can feel so awkward.
Oh, it's the worst.
I know, but it is a standard question, so be prepared.
Okay,
The key is to really do your research beforehand.
so no winging it on this one.
Definitely not websites like Glassdoor or salary.com
Right.
can give you a sense of the typical range for those policy manager roles in your industry and location.
Mm,
And then consider your own experience and qualifications as well.
Yeah.
A strong track record, specialized skills, those can justify asking for a higher salary.
but it's also about being realistic.
Right? Oh, for sure. You don't want to price yourself out of the running.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a balance.
Okay.
Okay, what about when the interview is winding down and they ask, do you have any questions for us? What do you do?
Oh, this is such a good opportunity to shine.
Okay.
Not just by asking questions,
Mm-hmm.
but by showing them that you have a genuine interest in the role in the organization.
Okay.
So prepare a few thoughtful questions beforehand.
Like what?
You could ask about, the company culture, the team that you would be working with, opportunities for professional development,
Mm-hmm.
or specific projects that you might be involved in.
So it's not just about getting information, it's about like making a connection.
Exactly. And use this as an opportunity to reiterate your enthusiasm for the position.
Yeah.
Highlight your key qualifications. It's your final chance to leave that lasting impression.
And this is where RoleCatcher's interview practice tools can really help out.
You can. With their Copilot subscription, you can actually practice different scenarios and get feedback on your approach.
Oh, wow.
It's like having a mock interview with a virtual coach,
That's so cool.
helping you refine your delivery and build your confidence.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
Yeah.
from compliance and conflict resolution to anticipating those future trends and navigating those salary conversations.
We have, but there's one crucial element that we haven't explored fully.
Okay, which is...
How to use RoleCatcher's AI to tailor your answers
Oh, what?
for specific job roles to really give you that extra edge.
Perfect. So that's what we'll delve into in the final part of our deep dive. Welcome back to our deep dive on becoming a policy manager. We've talked about, understanding the role and mastering those common interview questions.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to bring out the big guns, RoleCatcher's AI.
Yeah, it's really like having a personalized interview coach available 24/7, analyzing your answers and helping you tailor those answers to each specific job you're going for.
Okay, cool. So let's break it down. How does RoleCatcher's AI actually do this?
Well, it all starts with their CV resume builder. You just upload your existing resume and the AI goes to work,
Okay.
analyzing it, comparing your skills to the keywords and requirements in that specific job description.
So it's like having a recruiter's eye instantly telling you where you can improve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have all these skills that we don't even realize are valuable.
Oh, yeah.
RoleCatcher's AI helps you uncover those and showcase them effectively. Let's say, for example, you have experience in project management from like a volunteer role.
Mm-hmm.
The AI might say, hey, this is a really valuable skill for a policy manager. You should highlight that on your resume.
That's awesome. It's like having this personal brand consultant for your career.
Exactly. And then once you've got your resume all polished, you can move on to RoleCatcher's interview practice module.
Okay.
It's loaded with common interview questions for tons of different roles, including policy manager.
So you just pick the ones that are relevant to the job you're interviewing for and practice.
Yeah, exactly. Practice answering them out loud. And as you do that, RoleCatcher's AI is actually analyzing your response.
Oh, cool.
Looking for, keywords,
Yeah.
clarity, conciseness, that overall impact.
So it's like a mock interview with a robot.
Basically. And it's giving you that real-time feedback. Like if you're rambling on, it might suggest that you use the STAR method to keep it concise.
Okay.
Or if you're using a bunch of jargon, it might say, hey, simplify that language, make sure they're going to understand.
So helpful. It's like having a little speechwriter for your interview.
Yeah. And remember, it's not about memorizing these scripted answers.
Right.
It's about learning to articulate your thoughts in a way that's going to resonate with that hiring manager.
Finding your voice.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned tailoring answers to specific jobs.
Yeah.
How does RoleCatcher help with that?
Well, that's what I was curious about.
Well, remember how we were saying that AI analyzes those job descriptions for those keywords? Mm-hmm. It uses that same information to help you craft responses that hit those exact points.
Oh, okay.
Let's say the job description says, we need someone with strong analytical skills and experience in environmental policy.
Right.
RoleCatcher will say, make sure you incorporate these keywords into your answers. Highlight those projects that show off those skills.
So it's not just about knowing the right answers. It's about presenting them in the right way.
Exactly. It's showing that you get it, you get what they need, and that your skills match up.
You're the perfect fit.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like having a cheat sheet for every interview.
Totally a game changer. Okay, so I think we've really covered it all. Understanding that policy manager role, really nailing those interview questions, and using AI to take it to the next level.
Yeah, remember, preparation is key. The more you practice, the more confident you'll feel.
Right.
And with RoleCatcher, you're not just practicing, you're getting better every step of the way.
So to everyone out there who's getting ready for their policy manager interview, take a deep breath. Believe in yourself. You got this.
Yeah, you got this. And make sure to check out RoleCatcher's website, too. They have tons of resources to help you every step of the way.
Perfect. Good luck, everyone.